Hey, it's Danielle. Welcome to She Is in Circle. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, getting to meet our co-hosts, the phenomenal Bahati Hart and Kay Ray. And now you're in for even more treat. The ladies are going to put me in the hot seat, so to speak. Um, they'll ask me some questions, and you'll get to know a little bit more about my journey and what brought me here to the She Ascends Circle Lounge. So pick up your cup or your glass of wine, depending on what your choice is for this evening, and sit back and watch the first part of Meet Your Host, Danielle. Have a good one.
Hey everyone, welcome to the She Ascends Circle. Kay Ray here with Bahati
Hey,
and
I'm
our
Bahati.
fearless, hey, and our fearless
Hey.
leader, Danielle. And today we get to interview Danielle. Yeah.
Phew.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Well, we are really excited to get to know more about you, Danielle, and I know everyone listening wants to know what led you to start the She Ascends Circle.
So originally, the She Ascends Circle was a membership that I had started. I wanted to try a platform that was for women of color. Anyone was welcome, even allies. But that was my initial kind of niche behind that. And then how you try things out and they doesn't quite work out the way you envision them to work out. So I took a break from it, but I didn't want to give up that name or that brand. And because I like chatting with other women and uplifting and being uplifted by other women, I decided, maybe I'll do like a podcast or a channel or something and have some co-hosts with me and we can have guests on and just do what I like to do, just talk and chill and and even though it's virtual, then it could be. I want it to be that comfy atmosphere where someone can get on and turn it on and watch it in their PJs if they want to, with whatever their choice of drink or libation or whatever that is that they want to partake in
Any
at the
time of
at the
day.
time, any time of the
Any time
day,
of day.
because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So
That part.
Right? Little Irish coffee people, I'm just saying.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. So that's really what started it. I know how I felt when I've gone on like platforms where, and they don't know me from anyone, but I'm going on and I feel like I'm getting to know those that, are the host and co-host for those platforms. And, it's like everything they talk about at those times would be like right on time. And it just made me feel better with everything that I was going through personally. And so I wanted to give that back to other women. Now, men, I'm not excluding you. You definitely,
Allies welcome.
that's right.
Allies
That's
welcome.
right. Allies,
Mhm.
whatever even whatever you identify for, everyone's welcome. It's just a lot of the times, we see majority of women that, do these kind of things and join, certain platforms, but anyone is welcome to be a part of the She Ascends Circle Lounge.
Yes.
So that's just kind of how I got started and just wanting to talk really.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because I mean, listen, we're not going to apologize for centering women, especially not in 2026. We're not apologizing for that. I want to know, as a woman though, like, what is your background that led you to this moment of designing this experience? Like, what was going on in your life, in your background, in your work that was like, we need a space?
So there was several things kind of happening around the same time. In my former life, as an HR professional, I was dealing with a lot of microaggressions and systemic issues and things of that nature. But it just wasn't enough for me to be able to, go and file some kind of formal complaint. We were HR. Who do we go and file a complaint to besides maybe a federal organization like, the EEOC? But by me being in HR, I knew that there were certain aspects that had to be met before they would take on, something like that. And so the things that were happening to me were just on that fine line. And so it wasn't enough. And you have to have proof with everything, because if, I can have everything documented, but there just wasn't anything additional to corroborate my side of it. People were aware of things, but no one wanted to speak up. They'd say it to me, but that was it. So I felt very alone, and I felt very attacked, and I felt very stressful. And because I worked in higher education, I saw a lot of things that I didn't like to see anymore, like certain people getting certain positions because of who they were or what they looked like, or because who they were married to, even within the same institution, or making up job descriptions based on someone's resume, and it was there in black and white, but then not seeing others that maybe look closer to me, or even me myself personally, get promotions that were well deserved. And I didn't like that anymore. And then I moved my mom closer to me at the time. I was still in Virginia, and I moved her from Ohio because I couldn't balance the long distance caretaking aspects. I had to take over a lot of responsibilities, and it was just becoming a lot. Not that it got any easier as she got closer, but at least it was a little more, manageable at that time. And then, not to bring politics into it, but anyone who lives in the United States knows what happened with the last election. And that was probably one of the most elections that I felt so personal about. I think because of what was going on with me at work, and so much resonated where I'm like, this is just bullshit, and I felt like, I can't do it anymore. And, I can't talk about it at work, and I can't talk about certain things and how I felt. I went into a 24-hour depression behind that. And I've never let anything political affect me like that. But it was just so deep seated in me because I felt that Kamala did not make it because of the fact of what she looked like and who she was and what she represented. And I felt that. And so that is kind of everything that was going on around the time that I decided I want to have my own platform to talk about things. And not that, it's going to turn into a big political thing, because no, I don't want to talk about those kind of things all the time. That's going to bring my vibration down. But sometimes we have to talk about certain things and put out awareness. There's a lot of people out there, and that's kind of why too, like your presence is so important, Kay, because I wanted people to see the allyship behind those that don't, we don't have to look alike to get along or work together or, go through the same things or feel the same things. And so that's really what brought me to this point right now, and wanting to create this space for women to come to and be
literally
comfortable.
Full circle for you. Literally a full circle moment for the heart-centered leader. So even though this is called She Ascends, it is really about that energy of caring and creation, co-creation and collaboration. And that's why allyship is absolutely important, because they have the same heart we have and they see the same things we see. The interpretation might be slightly different because we live in culturally different ways, but the hearts are on fire and the full circle moments are happening for a lot of people. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely. And kudos to you for putting your hat in the ring and stepping in to create this podcast at a time when it is needed now more than ever. So I personally want to thank you for doing that and including me in this conversation. Very, very honored to be here. I am curious, though, one of your questions to us, and I think this is a very
You're not in a hot seat, but you might be having a hot flash. Are you okay?
I am having a
That is one thing we will be talking about.
That's my fan here. I put it in the closet. I'm sitting here now like, ooh, my back heated up.
Don't worry, we're not going to dive too deep, or maybe we are. I don't know.
Why not?
What's the question, Katie? I'm dying to know now. Like, what you got to ask her that made her heat rise up?
Right, literally.
So aside from embarrassing her, what has been a defining moment? Because I feel like throughout our journey, we had many. So for you, what you just laid out, definitely, I feel like was a defining moment for you. Are there others? Or is that one the most relevant right now?
I think that it's that, and then add on to the fact that last May, I was told that I was being non-renewed, and this was almost a year after the school I worked for merged with another institution. And for a while, I hadn't been happy with what I was doing, but I really still tried to pour into what I was doing and my team. And I showed up every day for them and for those ladies. And because, they were hard workers and, they deserved, recognition, and they deserved a leader or, someone that they reported to be there for them. Had it not been me taking that mindset, I probably would have just walked away, and then later on been like, what are you doing? Now you don't have a job. But because I wasn't happy there, I know that from doing, energy work for about 2.5 years now, that somehow I created the situation for them to non-renew me. And it was because my position no longer aligned with the direction they were going. But I was over talent acquisition, so that didn't go away. I ended up finding out that I just needed to be out of the way so they could bring someone in that they wanted to put in that position. So it was something, it was a defining moment for me, because I felt like, okay, this is scary, but something had to push me, I guess, off the porch, so to speak, because I wasn't going to take that leap without, I never left one job without having another. And so I wanted to take that leap, but I was afraid. And so that kind of pushed me into it.
So Danielle, I want to dive deeper. Let's get into this data point here. So last year I love data. I love data stories. So last year there was a data point that said over 700,000 women by November have left the workforce. Some wasn't by choice. Like over 300,000 of us were Black women who were forced out of the workforce, I myself included, and in federal. What do you think is going to happen next for the women who are on the outside of these systems? What is your prediction or premonition, as someone who's worked in HR, for the direction that we should take in this kind of vast oasis of the workforce? Like, what's the future of work without women?
Well, personally, I feel that it sounds bad.
Say the thing.
I actually hope that these organizations that those that let me backtrack. So I feel there's a reason why those that weren't forced out but chose to leave left.
Yeah.
Because not gonna lie, if I would have been married, if I had a spouse that had my back or something, I would have left my job a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because it caused so many, it wasn't just, oh, I didn't like something. No, it was deep rooted. It caused me anxiety. I had anxiety attacks. I never had that before.
Hmm.
And just a lot of ailments that came up that I didn't have before. And I knew it was all related to that. But you stay and you stay and you stay, and I was harming myself more than helping myself. But those that were forced out, if it's anything like my situation, they're going to regret it. And I think that at some point, the writing's going to be on the wall. They're going to be able to see that, oh, we should have kept this person because they did X, Y, and Z, or they did that extra mile, or they, whatever the case may be, they contributed a lot to this initiative and we didn't realize that. What are we going to do? And it's funny because I see a lot of things like on the Threads platforms, and I haven't been
Hmm.
on it in a while, but initially I used to go on and see a lot of things, and there were just so many women, particularly women, of color, that were expressing themselves on that platform. And that kind of goes back to the last question, why I decided to start this platform. Reading those ladies' comments in their post on that Threads platform literally was one of the things that kind of pushed me and said, we need somewhere to talk about this.
Hmm.
And I feel that those that were forced out, because I was one of them, it's so hard to get back out there. And I apply, I have the certifications, I exceed what most of the jobs that, I've looked at are looking for. And my phone's not ringing or my email is not being contacted. And so I have to pour into my business now, my coaching business, like my life depends on it. And so I recommend to anybody that if you've been forced out and you're having a problem finding something else and your phone's not ringing, that that might be a reason. Maybe it's just that's not for you anymore. And that's kind of where I've come to, where I feel like I miss some of the aspects of working in HR because I felt that I had a lot of knowledge and a lot of things I could offer, but I can still use it in a sense with my corporate wellness offerings because I don't want all that just to kind of go dormant.
Yeah.
But I do have to rely on what it is that I think that I'm called to do, and I don't think that's it anymore. So if
Yeah.
you've got a dream or something out there that you've been wanting to do and it's scary, you might as well spend that time and pour it into you and pour it
Hmm.
into what it is that you want to do. Because if you were forced out like me, and I definitely was blindsided because being non-renewed is not for any performance issue. I had no performance issues. I always get stellar reviews. And so it wasn't anything for that. It just like literally I was collateral damage. And there's all these different situations and scenarios, or I've even personally seen where their manager's having these issues, but then they don't want to discuss it with the person and try to put them on a plan for improvement. it's like they wanted to just keep stacking things up so they would have this legitimate reason to fire them. And that things like that, it just may not be for you. Don't pour all of that into someone else's shit at this point. Pour it into your own shit. That's my advice.
Say it. Say it.
Love it.
Say the thing.
So that really says a lot about who you are and what a heart that you have for other people and wanting to help them. So it ties into my next question. Exactly what kind of programs do you offer? What do you do? And how does that tie into what Ascension means to you?
Oh boy. Okay. I might have to go back and say, what was that last question again? All right. So the name of my business is Danielle Calhoun Official. I was told, change your name up and brand yourself, like market you. And I'm like, me? I always kind of be like,
yes.
The creative behind the scenes.
Yes.
I used to do event planning, and I loved like spending other people's money and making their weddings or whatever their event, making their dreams come true, but still a little bit behind the scenes with that. So putting myself out there has been a big step and a big growth. I have a front end and a back end program that is an overall wellness program. We talk about different aspects of wellness, things we should do, like how much water we should drink and what kind of foods we should eat and stay away from, and also how to maintain that inner peace and that inner happiness, creating boundaries and things like that, and self-love, putting yourself first, silencing that inner critic, and just all the things, because I teach myself the same thing. And so that is what I offer. And I also offer corporate wellness initiatives for organizations that maybe have a wellness program and they want someone to come in and speak to them, or they want to work with someone that maybe their HR department maybe wants to work with someone who has a background in HR but can also bring in some other aspects where they have happier employees. Because I don't have the numbers because I didn't in front of me because I didn't plan on talking about it, but I do have some numbers that I obtained a couple of years ago about what percentage of the productivity would increase based on the employees' overall well-being and overall happiness, and them feeling supported. So my coaching is on an individual basis for those things, and then also from the corporate side.